What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Dark Days. My name is Juan, also known as Lost Knight, and we just finished up with the Duke's Dear Freya, Ride and Ruin in an Ancient City. Yeah, pretty crazy. This boss fight has this dragon right there. So my theory is that the Duke's Dear Freya consumed some stuff. It was a pet of the Duke of Seldora, and then during their excavations, they actually uncovered, this ruin, and the spider itself consumed souls to the point where it grew so strong, and it eventually consumed a Lord soul, being Seath's soul, which is where she acquired all this power. So here we get the Brightstone key. I want to make a little correction from the last episode. This is the key that we need to use to backtrack. So that's what's on the agenda for today. We're going to be, I guess Vengrel's body is not here. Okay. I remember my first playthrough, I came down here with all these souls. I was feeling pretty good, first attempt on Freya, and Vengrel's body used to be here, and yeah, he fucked me up pretty bad. So, but I guess he's not here. I wonder where his body is. It wasn't after the Lost Sinner either, so anyways, yeah, today's a little bit of housekeeping. We're gonna return to Seldora. We're going to return to Seldora to, one, obtain the next main weapon we're going to be using, and two, we're going to get an important NPC to move to Seldora. Seems we haven't upgraded her shop yet. I guess it has to be the main boss of... Yo, Rosabeth, why you...
I'm glad to see you.
Oh, okay, I see. Alright, so we need to give her like a full set at once. I guess we can give you this priestess robe. We don't really need this for anything. And then let's get the fire seeds while we're at it. That way we can boost the pyromancy flame a bit more. And yeah. I didn't think she'd just be like almost topless basically. I was like, what? Sorry girl, I forgot how your mechanic worked. Yeah, so Freya, so that's 2 Lord souls down. So in a bit more context of the lore and just kind of stating what we're doing here. Our player character traveled to Drangleic to search for a cure. We're afflicted with the undead curse, and we are searching for some kind of cure. Because we're losing our memories, we did that whole thing in the intro where we traveled through time. What seems like traveling through time, at least. And we arrived here in Drangleic. And the first real direction we get is the Emerald Herald, and she tells us we need to seek Vendrick. So, it's a bit cryptic, and it's hard to really know that that's what you're supposed to be doing, but that's the goal of our player character right now. What we are trying to do is we're trying to open up the path for Drangleic Castle, and to do that we need the 4 Lord Souls, so that we can have an audience with Vendrick, because we keep hearing about him. Vendrick is the guy who built Drangleic from the ground up. He's the guy who was looking into curing the curse, and it seems like he may have some answers for us. So with that being said, there is a connection to souls. In this world, souls have memory. and so they carry some of the power, I guess, or the essence of their prior owners. So that's why, you know, with the Witch of Isolith, you got her soul from the Lost Sinner. Or the Duke's Dear Freya, you get Seath's soul, or the Pale Drake's soul, from the Duke's Dear Freya. So it seems that they transcend. They transcend time, and that they carry some sort of power still. So it's cool. Just something to think about, I guess. It's just interesting. Adds more context to what we're doing. Now, Vendrick, so this is how we get down here. Okay. So his whole thing is that I don't want to call him a simp, but he was like this powerful king, and then out of nowhere, this woman appears. Her name is Nashandra, and so she becomes the queen. She's the queen of Drangleic, and she tells Vendrick that he needs to go across the sea to the land of giants, and that there he's going to I forgot how much bullshit this area is going this way. If you descend from the parts above, you can get rid of these sorcerers, but just like walking into this area from this door in particular, it's kind of a tougher encounter, I guess, because you have the 2 projectiles, 3 if you don't kill the guy from the top, and the spiders are all kind of like ambushing you all at once. But you guys already know the strat, you know the vibe. Just take it nice and slow, use some range attacks. Nothing wrong with that, you know, just take your time. But yeah, so Nashandra, right, she convinces King Vendrick to go across the sea, and he takes something from the giants, which is why the giants return to Drangleic later and lay siege to Drangleic. And so that's part of the history of this world, I guess. We'll unravel more as we go, but yeah, just kind of adding some context to what our player character is doing and why we're traveling through this land. I think a gameplay standpoint is that you can, I believe you can get 1 million souls. Like if you have 1 million souls in your soul inventory on that bottom right corner, you can open the Shrine of Winter. So the lore implication is that it has to be a being that has a powerful soul, right? So that means that you've acquired a lot of souls, and your own soul has grown in power as a result. Yeah, souls are kind of important in this game. if you didn't realize it. And you make weapons from them, dude. They're also your currency and your XP, but yeah, it's cool how they justify that, right? Like only a powerful soul can open the Shrine of Winter, so you acquire these 4 Lord Souls, or Great Souls, I guess they call them in Dark Souls 2, right? The Great Souls, because that makes you stronger. So eventually you earn the right to enter Drangleic Castle. Or if you just have a lot of souls in your inventory, I guess that's the equivalent of having that much power. Anyways, some lore rabbit hole right there. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda, we're gonna head into the Spider Chapel real quick. We're gonna use that Brightstone key to open the locked door, and we are gonna get my favorite weapon in Dark Souls 1 through 3. In this game, I mean, I still like it. It's still one of my favorite and one of the better weapons. But there's one thing about it that I do not like, which we'll talk about. I realized I forgot to get the items down here, so let's do that too while we're here. You see this doesn't damage you too much. It does damage your weapons though, or your armor, so you don't want to linger there, but dude, Titanite Chunk, Titanite Slab, a bunch of goodies right there. Okay, and these guys are not too happy about that. It's funny they still take damage, even though they were there the entire time. Oh my god. There we go, that's what I was trying to do earlier. Jeez. Sorry, man. You're not gonna use that Titanite slab? You can take that pickaxe to plus 10? I don't think so. I forget I gotta deal with these guys too. Okay. If you're returning through here, the best way to do it, to be honest, is just run around a little bit. They'll kind of form a line while they're chasing you, and so it's a lot easier to get like multiple spiders with one hit. If you're having a short ranged build, or you have like a ranged build, then that will also work. Just watch out, because the spiders are pretty fast. They're kind of sneaky, you know what I mean? Alright, Brightstone key. Dude, I'm excited, man. Even though the Dark Souls 2 version is not my favorite, this weapon is cool. When I got it on the first game, it was like, dude, I've been farming for that weapon for so long, and I finally got it, and I was so stoked. And then on the third game, when I was playing Dark Souls 3, that was as soon as I got it, that was my main weapon all the way through. But let's see. Black Knight Ultra Greatsword. Hell yeah, baby. And we also got some other stuff. Hold on, let me get rid of these. Yeah, Black Knight Ultra Greatsword, such a cool weapon. Black Knight weapons in general, just such cool weapons. So, Dark Souls 2, here's the downside, right? These scale with faith, which means they deal fire damage as well. And because of that, they deal split damage. So, that's kind of the downside, is that physical damage, it actually kind of sucks. It's not that strong, but because it's split damage, you get a pretty high number. Like, you can get this up to like 530 AR, but half of that is fire damage, right? Half of it is elemental damage. So yeah, the weapon, it hits hard, but it doesn't hit quite as hard as its counterparts in the other games. Those dealt full physical damage, so that's why they were such just top tier weapons. But in Dark Souls 2, it's all the Black Knight weapons: the halberd, the sword, and then the great sword, or I guess the great sword and then the ultra great sword. And I don't think the great axe is in this game, is it? I'm sure that one does too, you know, scales with faith. Alright, we're using that Fragrant Branch of Yore on this guy to get the Fang key. And we are going to immediately use this Fang key. We're going to go free Ornifex. Ornifex is the weaponsmith of this game. The one that's going to turn boss souls into boss weapons. She's actually down there in that pit, so we just gotta cross back over this little bridge and then make our way down there. Now, that area, make sure you go prepared, know what to expect. There is a puddle of corrosive acid, so yeah, don't step in the wrong place. That's gonna deteriorate your equipment. And there are also tons of basilisks. So, same thing. Just be careful where you're walking. Otherwise, you're going to end up petrified. And petrification just like in any other of the Dark Souls games, petrification is an instant kill. So. Okay, good to know we can one-shot these guys. Cool. And we can actually hear her.
Thank you for helping me. I am Ornifex. I owe you some form of thanks. If it would not trouble you, could you visit my... Thank you. I believe that
She's right down the road, baby. So if you found her here before you descended to where the Duke's dear Freya is, right? If you found her here, you'd be like, "Oh, my house is just down the road." Like you'd be like, "Oh, sick." And yeah, you'd have to go through Nachka. You'd have to go through the congregation and the magus, all the falconers, all the farmers, all the spider chapel. Like, it's not that right down the road, girl. You're hella far. Alright, but we made it pretty easy. Dude, that's always so satisfying. Yeah, we made it pretty easy for us since we already have this bonfire and we already completed this area. We just gotta deal with these little sorcerers. And another reason we want Ornifex, besides just the boss soul thing, she is actually going to sell a few weapons, just regular standard weapons that are pretty sick. We're also going to be upgrading our arsenal. So yeah, a lot of weapons that we're going to use. I know we've been rocking the claymore. We did the S-stock and the halberd in a few at the start, and then we've been rocking the claymore for a few episodes, but we are going to change it up pretty soon, don't worry. I did say too that this would be like a dex oriented playthrough or a quality oriented playthrough, but and I wasn't lying. It's just probably for the near future we're going to default to what was my original build, but we'll get there when we get there. Alright, and so now there she is. Oh, we got the spiders coming up. We probably should deal with them.
don't we need to get this? It's my workshop. In your tongue.
I guess she's got a thing for dolls. Kind of a mystery why that's there. Okay, so weapon-wise, that is what we want right there. We want that composite bow. She also sells fire arrows, infinite amount. Super, super convenient. And if you go to trade, there you go. True nature of the sword is unknown, even to the lost sinner herself. Those who choose the sword will share the burden of the lost sinner's misdeeds. Attacks damage wielder. Its blade saps the life of its wielder. Pretty interesting. And it's pretty interesting too that with the old witch's soul, you can also make the chaos blade, which has the same effect as the lost sinner's sword. Murakumo, we are going to get this weapon, pretty sick. And we are also going to get the 9 composite bows. We're going to get the composite bow because it is a much better bow than the short bow. Faster shot speed, so loading the arrows doesn't take us long and firing them doesn't take us long. And more damage, scales better with our stats, just all around a much better choice, you know. Look at 10 green blossoms. I don't know. I don't really use them in this game too much. And yeah, she's also just a blacksmith, so you can also upgrade your gear. Macduff is the only one that can add elemental to the weapon, so she can't do that, but we are definitely going to be upgrading this composite bow in the near future. Alright, that's what we were looking for right there. And you can see it requires 30 strength and 13 faith. And on the right, you can see it deals 115 split fire damage, whereas something like the S-Stock is just pure physical, or something like the Claymore. So that's that split damage that we were talking about, where, I don't know, it detracts from like how cool the weapon was in the first and third game, right? I get what they were trying to do. It's still a very cool weapon, and with the right build, it is very powerful. And something Dark Souls 2 did that was also unique. You can enchant them. So you can even enchant the weapon that has an elemental use. So, for example, say that I had the fire weapon Pyromancy. I could enchant the Ultra Greatsword with fire weapon too, which is crazy. So adds more like a flat fire boost. So pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. You could do that with pretty much any weapon, including boss weapons. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching the episode, and I will catch you guys next week with the next episode of Dark Days. We are going to be changing up the build a little bit, but yeah, look forward to that. See you guys next time.